Hi, this is Fern. Welcome back to the channel. Coming in, just wanted to share that my books are in. Um, How to Make Money Selling What You Already Own, Reselling to Make Ends Meet. And this is my book. Some have probably seen it before, but you can get it. You can DM me and leave a message in my inbox. If you look on Facebook, you could DM me and I'll send you a copy. My name also, as you'll see at the bottom of the book, Fern Levels. There's a glare in it, but Fern Levels, and DM me. I'm selling it for $15. You can get it for a lesser price on Amazon. I think it's $12.99, but it's a great reference book, a how-to guide, a help guide to help you take and make ends meet, and also for those who just want to help other people who may be going through a difficult time, that they can be able to gather the things together. And you know, I met a gentleman about 2 years ago now. I was showing my daughter how to tag sale, and I went out to Ohio, and I went and I showed her how, as a reseller, we did street vending. So I do street vending too, and how we would set up our stands and our carts and stuff. And we had the umbrellas and everything, and I helped her set it up. Then I went again with her and her husband. But you can hit the tag sale also. You hit the flea markets. Try to find a flea market if you're going to do flea markets or some type of function. You don't want to go high on the admission unless you have enough that you're going to be able to sell to make the fee back. That should be your starting point of reselling. If you're going to go out to the flea markets, then try to find a flea market that might be, some of them are as low as $10 or $15, $20. But I have run into them where they've been $60, and I have heard that they can go up to $100. But again, you want to make sure you're going to make that back off the top before you take any revenue or anything else out. Because the more it is to get into these flea markets, the more you're going to have to sell to make that money back. There are people who do it, but again, it depends on the product you sell. If you can hit a flea market where it's even $20 and you can make that back in the first 5 minutes of being there, it's possible. I've seen it done. So I've seen people accomplish a lot. When I've gone, sometimes I break even, sometimes I've had a loss. It depends on the items I had, depends on the customer. The customers are always different. But then you have regular customers. And as you get to know your customers, then you'll know what kind of items you're looking to bring with you. Every little bit helps. Like I said, once you hit that admission fee, then you go from there and you go on. Ask even the people who run the flea market, what other items do they accept? Every flea market isn't the same. Every owner of that land isn't the same. So you have to find out what their regulations are, what they will allow and what they won't allow. And then there was a flea market that I was vending at, and they were looking for people who were consistent in selling and had their license for doing vending for baked goods and things like that. But again, you have to find out the specifics from that property owner, what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And do that. That's another way to gather the bills and things like that and get them paid. So I just wanted to come out and show you can resell. You can be consistent. In this guide, you'll find different online I got that light that's messing with me. Online things you could sell online. Remember, I mentioned Facebook. The shipping label thing is moved. It's changing. I haven't done it yet, but that's going to change the 24th, which is tomorrow, I believe. And then, but you still can do meetups and things like that. Meet up with customers and sell your wares and things like that. Be cautious. Find someplace local, the police department, fire department, the town hall, city hall, to exchange that item with, especially if it's a product that costs a lot. Don't go to where they are. Have them come to you. Don't let anybody draw you out. You make them come to you, that you're secure in the area you are in, and then have somebody with you. Again, I've been doing it long enough where I can basically discern the conversations I'm having with people, and there's just things you'll become more acquainted with as you do your reselling, as you sell. Even if it's your child, especially for older people, if you have grandchildren and your daughter or your son have the baby's clothes, you can resell baby clothes. Those are a good product to sell. You can also hit the thrift stores and look for those name brand items. I'm not going to say do a lot of it in the beginning. You have to get to know your clientele. And selling online, you're not always going to be consistent, but you just want to look and see what the people around you are interested in. What's a good seller? You got to do your research. Yes, it's going to take time. Yeah, if you have a bill and it's due, then you're going to have to just put all in and say, hey, I got to do this to keep a roof over my head. I got to do this and to pay my car. And that's another thing with the car notes. You know, if you have a vehicle, you can do whatever you want. But if you have a vehicle, you might have to give it back and get yourself maybe another vehicle that is less. You don't need that car note up over your head right now. And the way things are moving and grooving, you're going to have to downsize. And that's what one of the gentlemen, the older gentleman at the flea market told me, because I told him I was out there selling for my daughter, teaching her how to sell. And I'm talking about he was quite a bit older. And he gave me a word that just encouraged my spirit, man. And he was like, tell her that she needs to purge. Purge the things in the house. He said, as much as she can, paraphrasing, and he said, she can always get it back later. And I told her what he said. And from time to time, I'll go out to her, and she'll ask me to come and help her and stuff. And yeah, you can do it. You're might have to do that. But if that's going to keep a roof over your head or a vehicle and come down on those rates and things like that, now is not the time to get into any contracts. Now is not the time. You want to decrease. Yes, everybody may be dropping, but again, I tell you all the time, you don't know how people are living. You don't know how there's money running. People money be doing all kind of stuff, and you don't know what they do. It's not about them. It's about you securing a roof over your head and food in your mouth and trying to keep things together, keep you afloat, and stack your money, save your money. We don't know where things are going. We don't know. Yet God knows. You don't know. So I would encourage you to take note of the inventory, what's in your house, what's outside your house. If you own your own house, if you have vehicles you're not using, lawnmowers, if they're fixable, you, excuse me, sorry. You can go online and you can put those online lawnmowers that are broken, that can be fixed. I'm not talking about junk. But you can also, I wanted to share this with you, some people, some of the people even do scrap. I used to do scrap metals. Yes, I did. I had a younger brother, he did scrap metal. In the ministry I came out, we did scrap. And yes, I would get up, I ended up with a truck. I would get up on that truck, and if we had to load it up, take it to, I loved it. That was like, hey, I enjoy working. So you can make it. Enjoy working. You know, I heard this recently, and I'm going to get off this, but I heard this recently. And I don't know if it was a minister. His name was Dr. Miles Monroe. And if you know of him, he always came with the wisdom. Now, I come from up underneath the prophetic ministry. For those who know the Lord and just walking with Christ and believers. And to hear the revelations of wisdom that would come out of the pastor I was under, her will come out of her mouth. What Dr. Miles Monroe would minister, just learning, gleaming, and eating with the wisdom of God as he spoke through them and used them, and see what God would do in someone's life. So you walk by faith, not by sight. Just trust and believe the Lord that God's going to open a door. If he tells you, and I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say that, if he tell you to bake cookies, bake cookies. If he say do cakes, I did candies, I did cake pops, I made cakes, I did candy apples. That's a way, and that's one of the things. You have so many gifts and talents that you can do. Cottage home license, baking cakes, cookies, pies. Get your license, and start baking cakes and things like that. Remember the Apple Cake Mortgage Cake? It's a movie. You can go check it out. Maybe Netflix or online, or try to get it some way. There's so many things that can be done to earn money, to start a business, and to make ends meet. Even those who have a job. I worked at a hospital, and I still was in the ministry. I was on the streets. I get off of work, I go to the cart, I go over, set up the cart. We're out there till whatever time. We went home, and yeah, I had to do what I had to do. The Lord blessed me with a business, and I did that after I got off of work. Eventually, the Lord, come out, and I went and I worked on the cart while I could. So there's different ways, different things you can do to bless others. Others need help. Their hair done. A lot of you do hair. You may not have your beauty license to open up a shop yet. You know what? People have been doing hair for years. For years. People, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Right now, if that's going to pay and make ends meet, use that gift. Use that gift to make ends meet. So remember, what? We just look and we have faith that God going to bring us through, his people, those who don't know the Lord. Just begin to pray. Pray. God is real. I'm telling you, God is real. God is awesome. There's so many different things to know about him, to learn about him. Have faith and trust. So again, go ahead, start that business. Just, think some of the things you might want to do, can do. God's placed gifts and talents in us, and when you can do it, and you can make it, and begin to teach your kids. For those who have children, bring your children alongside with you. Don't leave them home. They have to learn on-the-job training from young. They understand, and they'll know, and they'll see you. And don't think they too young to learn. It's the prime time is when they born, is to train them so that they can get an understanding and see what you're doing. If you're doing your bills, bring them along. Sit them down. Let them see where all of those dollars go, what they go for. Teach them. We have to teach our children. Because if not, we're doing them a disservice. Because if we don't give them what we have, how are they going to make it? How are they going to make it? Some of y'all going to have at your jobs, they have parent days, or parents, you can bring your kids to work day. Bring the kids to work. Let them see what you do. Let them see how you operate. Let them see different things like that. I did it with my daughters. My daughter, it's so funny because my daughter, she was in high school. She was already working. She was on the basketball team. And then she went away to college. But before, when she was on the basketball team, when you're in a lot of activities, people will begin to bring you, if your kid's in there, they'll begin to show you things. So she ended up with a custodian job in high school. And when her senior year, she ended up working. She had turned 16. She ended up working at the hospital I worked at. She did the position I did. And she did it for like 4 or 5 years. She did it all the way through college, through her master's. And then she was still working at the school, because whenever she came home, and she went to school upstate New York for a season, and then somebody found her. She ended up going to school in Texas. And when she was on break, She had already booked her hours that she was going to work. When she got off that plane, she was back at work and a couple of jobs. Yeah. So we have to teach our kids young. And then my other daughter ended up working at the hospital for a season. So you know what? Bring your kids in. Let them learn. Especially if it's something you really don't want to do, let them see you do it. And then they can choose for themselves if that's the way they want to go or that's not the way they want to go. But God set it up for his people, like I told you before, to be business people. We just weren't taught. And you can learn it. And you can teach them grandparents. Bring those grandbabies aside. You. Let them do what you do. I bring them, come on, let's get the broom. They in the ministry we came up under, the babies will want to sweep. Yep. Sweep, whatever we did, they did. They were doing their work. And they learned. So don't be ashamed, oh, I don't want them to do what I do. They don't have to do it long term. They just have to know how to work. That they have to work. Because work is a blessing. The first thing God gave Adam was work. And that's one of the things I was going to share with you, is work has been made to see bad because of what people do with work. And work is a good thing. That was one of the first things before he made Eve. He made Adam and he gave him work. So we have to pray, ask God, give me that passion for work. Because when we work according to how God has set it up, and I was listening to some word, I'm going off, I'm going to bring myself back. I always try to take it over deliver because I want you to know you can make it. You can make it. Have a love for things. Everything isn't bad. It's not. Because when you see what you create, you go, oh. When I was out there and I did gift baskets and all that stuff, and I look at my work, I would be like, oh my goodness, I did that. There's so many things that God allowed me to do that I never, ever thought that I would do. See yourself being a businesswoman. Go to Proverbs 31. See yourself being a businessman. Go all the way to Abraham. And I found some information on him. Adam came into the world that was what he did. That's God's purpose. But it wasn't work for a bad thing like the world has made it, just because we're in sin, the sin world. But as you learn and you see what God's gifts he placed in you, you'll learn to love it. And the more I grow and I go forward in what the things God has called me to do, I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy helping people. That's ministry helps. But be encouraged. We're going to talk with you later. And remember, if you're interested in getting this guide, you can always DM me. And I'll get back to you. And we're going to work through it. Have a great night. Remember, subscribe, share it with someone, and we'll talk with you later. Have a good evening.